And today we have our special guest, Paul.
Greg, thank you for being on. Not only our first female, but also our first female. We have Emily Hester.
What's a female? I don't know what one they are. What are they?
And then we also have Charlie, who we met at the Razer event. How are you doing?
Good, yeah.
With our amazing guest, Benjamin Abunamanya.
It's Abuaji for the record.
If you're not aware of this, OnePlus announced their new phone, the OnePlus 5, earlier this week. I actually did a live stream about the... Well, I live streamed the event, basically, which I found a lot of fun, which is the reason we're now doing this podcast, because I decided it meant I needed to be live more. So, yeah, what did you think? Snapdragon 835, 6 or 8 gigabytes of RAM, 64 to 128 gigabytes of storage, dual cameras on the back. This is a very serious piece of kit and is the most expensive phone in OnePlus history. £450 for the base model, $500 for the extra storage and memory. What's your opinion on the device?
Well, first of all, have you ever noticed that OnePlus 5 OnePlus with the OnePlus 5 are actually trying to show off the camera? I mean, you can't tell for the fact every single thing is about the camera.
Yeah, I don't think they've stopped talking about that camera yet. I think they're still...
Yeah.
They are...
It's even branded on the box. It's a good camera.
Yeah, the tagline is dual camera, like clearer photos or something. I think that might be it. Dual camera, clearer photos. That sounds about right.
It looks very good, but at the same point, it would be nice to hear something else apart from the camera.
Yes, well, this was kind of expected though going into it, right? They had the they had their releasing of information, right? The first thing they mentioned was that it would have an 835, and then the second thing they mentioned and the sort of the teaser for the event was, oh, by the way, we're working with DxOMark to make our camera the best in the world, right?
Yeah.
That was the biggest selling point of this phone, even before the press conference, and now we know why.
Yes, very much so. And yeah, it does look like an awesome camera. But the thing is, with phones nowadays, that is actually the main selling point, because we've started trading in our big, expensive DSLR cameras, or even just small, crappy, compact ones, for just using phone cameras.
Yeah, and there's a school of thought on this that the best camera you own is the one you have with you, regardless of situation, right? So for most people, they have their phone on them 24/7. Therefore, most of the time, it's the best camera they own. And we're getting into a place which is really exciting, where Casey Neistat had major backlash the other day. He released a video that, may or may not be an advert. It's a bit sketchy, but, because it's got like a full-on film crew, and the reason that people went, wait a second, is this an ad, is because right at the end, the last 10 seconds, it says, like, this was all filmed on the Samsung Galaxy S8, right? So that was the only reason people ever went, wait a second, is this an advert? So, but it's crazy how you can take a mobile phone and get professional-grade video out of it at this point.
In that case, though, because did you see the equipment they used?
Oh yeah, it was all rigged up. Yeah, it was rigged up like proper cameras. Yeah,
it's beyond just using a phone camera at that point, because they were using like special lenses, all completely custom stuff. Really,
the lenses weren't custom. I think the way they were used was custom.
Yeah,
but I know the lenses you can actually buy a phone case for your for an S8, which gives you that lens on the back of your phone. But I think what Samsung did is probably with a few of them, they decided to bypass that and just built it straight into the phone for exactly the situation, right? Where you don't want to be carrying around a case.
Yeah.
You've taught me the greatest thing on the internet at the moment.
Yeah, so let's actually. So I have one of the staples of the Snappy-Tech podcast is a really bad joke at the start of most episodes, because no way to loosen the mood like a really bad joke. So we are happy to announce that we will actually be replacing Google Search as the default search engine on iPhones. Now you will only be able to search through YouTube videos whenever you open Safari and go for a search. So see that in iOS 11. However, first, Android O is coming tomorrow, which has been timed with the solar eclipse. and I put in the show notes here because the sun is kind of a circle, and it's Android O. Get it? I'm not even sure if that was a coincidence or not, but it was one of those things where I just kind of saw it and I was like, I really hope someone in marketing isn't being paid for that idea. However, before we get into the tech side of this, I just want to discuss what we've been talking about pre-show, which is if you go into TweetDeck or Twitter or whatever and just type in the words Eclipse animals, or if you go to Greg's Twitter now and see the moment.
I've just created a moment. I'm not entirely sure whether I did it correctly because this is the first time I've done it. But yeah, it literally is the funniest thing on Twitter right now. There's just loads of. I'm convinced people are actually serious. Is people thinking that their animals are going to go crazy during the eclipse?
Yeah, so this is followed with a bunch of like PSAs and stuff like that. Just people being like, whatever happens, make sure your animals are not outside during this solar eclipse. Because apparently, like, they've never seen shade before. They're going to go a bit stir crazy. I don't know what people are expecting. But, animals inside. Like, you have solar eclipse glasses. Why doesn't your pet dog, huh? That's a real question here.
That's like $1 billion idea we should have created. Eclipse glasses for dogs.
I think someone actually, because I think I saw like one link.
We need to do it. Let's do it.
Oh god, it's just I've been following this for the last like 2 days, and it's just so good. It's just how did we live before this? Like that's what I want to know.
I just don't know. Obviously, every single animal is going to go, where is that burning thing in the sky gone?
And then they're going to go crazy, and then there's nothing we can do.
No, it's the end of the world as we know it. And I feel fine.
Humanity's stupidity never ceases to amaze me.
Yeah, you're actually right. You are actually right. I'm actually amazed by people's stupidity every new year, but this is like a new one to me.
Oh god, it's just I don't even know where to take this conversation outside of just if you own, like, TweetDeck is probably the best way to do it, but I'm sure if you type it in on like the Twitter app, it will come up. Just Eclipse animals, and it will bring up every tweet that has the word eclipse and animals in it. And there are people who, there are so many here, but it's not just trolls. People are fully tweeting like PSAs about keeping animals indoors during the eclipse, watching out for animals freaking out during the. It's just golden content. This is when I think humanity has hit a new level of evolution right here.
Maybe that's it. Maybe we've just moved on. We've transcended onto a new plane of existence where maybe they will go crazy. Who knows? I mean, this could all be fake news for all we know it. I mean, after all, truth is what you make it.
Oh, God. Is it though? Is it really?
To be fair, yeah, I don't really know what is going on with the world. There's like Nazis are back, and the animals are going crazy. The sun's going to go away for like a minute or whatever. So
yeah, it lasts it doesn't last very long. And so actually, this probably kind of ties in. So if you want to find out more about the eclipse, this is some next level segue in right here. If you go to android.com/eclipse, which is where Google wants you to go. Their intention is to really get you to watch that solar eclipse, because right after it, they're planning on showing off Android O, which at this point might as well be Android Moon, I guess.
Yeah.
The Note 8 is where I can probably say will be the first Samsung flagship product that will most likely not have any performance degradation issues. I can almost confidently say that just based on so many extreme speed tests that I've seen from all the bigger guys that do it legitly, whether it's Super South, whether it's David Rahimi from Phone Buff, whether it's Everything Apple Pro, who is undeniably more of an Apple bias channel.
The name didn't give that away.
Yeah,
it's like when I read something on iMore, right? I'm like, it's not technically it's not an Apple publication, but when your name is iMore, you can kind of expect that bias there, right?
Yeah, which is fair. It adds the human element of it,
absolutely.
So they're justified that there's nothing wrong with having a form of bias, but then it's just like,
Yes, it's not like they're called iMore, but they're trying to claim they prefer Android, right?
Yeah,
like that's when it starts becoming sketchy, right? If you're sketchy. Like, our name is iMore, but we're so unbiased, right?
Yeah,
like,
you know, that's not. We still love those channels. It's just, you know, they're naturally a bit more lenient to Apple, which is cool. There's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, the Note 8 data is like when people say, oh, there isn't much of a difference. I'm like, really? Do you use these phones? Have you pushed them to their limit to really see if there's no difference in terms of day-to-day performance? You know, and another thing, I think it was Paul that I tweeted it to, that whatever Samsung device or even whatever Android device you are using, you should definitely go into developer options, drop the animations to 0.5.
Oh yeah.
And it's not only just a night and day difference to the phone, but then literally like the Note 8 runs away with it.
I want to mention, if you look at the show notes, which is smpy.tech/sn20, so show notes 20. I didn't get the time to do the show notes this week, so Paul decided to go in and put little show notes in most of them. Oh, thanks, Emily, for sticking it in the chat.
That's okay.
And under the bottom one, which is Germany banning kids' smartwatches and classing them as illegal spying devices, he wrote, "Since when did the NSA make kids smartwatches?" Which is great.
Oh no, I heard about this. It's the VTech thing. There's a VTech smartwatch. I only know it because it's Christmas. There are fucking kids adverts everywhere, and it's basically like so imagine the Apple smartwatch, and times the size of the screen, so it's basically a phone, but on a wrist strap. You know, that's essentially what this kid's smartwatch is. And it has a camera on it and it takes pictures. I'm pretty sure it doesn't have Wi-Fi on it. It has like 2 crappy games. And that's it. That's all it's got on it. So if that's what they're talking about.
The issue with, and this is a blanket ban of all smartwatches, not just the VTech ones, I believe.
Oh, all smart. Wow.
Correct.
So you can't give. Why would you give a smartwatch to a kid anyway?
Because this is smartwatches that are designed for kids.
Oh, designed for kids. So like the VTech one. I see.
Yeah. And the issue is, according to the German government, that they are riddled with security holes. And it means that I can't find the exact sentence I wanted to read. But the issue is they're riddled with security holes, which means that they can... Paul, why are you playing with Panda? Why are you...
I can't... Oh, I've got a rabbit. Hang on.
Oh my... What is happening here? There's an uprising happening in the podcast.
Anyway, back to business. Back to business.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah.
Usta-chan.
Anyway, yeah. I see. Kids' smartwatches, at least from the one that we've got in the UK anyway, it doesn't have Wi-Fi on it. So I don't know how. I don't get how they're spying devices.
So
that's what I don't get.
The ones that the German government mentioned specifically actually have 3G built in. They're designed. They're designed to be like connected 24/7 kind of deal.
Oh jeez. Okay.
And it allows for parents to drop in, so they can start listening to the device at any moment in time.
That's weird. That's
imagine starting to hit on someone and then your mum starts listening to you hitting on someone. Right?
That would be really creepy. Oh god.
Especially if they're kids' smartwatches, though. Like if they're young kids, that would be even creepier.
Yeah.
In a way, like.
In a way.
Actually, I was trying to think of a good reason for kids to have a smartwatch, but there isn't one. So never mind.
Well, if it helps that. Because I saw one of the topics we're going to do today, I started messaging Zoe AI just as you launched the show.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, what are you doing?" And she was like, "You, winky face."
Oh my god, she didn't really, did she?
She did.
Oh no. Oh, that is traumatic. Snapchat. What do you have you used the new feature? I haven't actually checked. Are you on the maps? I think you are. Let me check.
I'm not on the maps. I actually did check it, then realise, yeah, if you want to actually use it, you have to opt in and have yourself showing. So I was like, yeah, no, I'm not using this then.
So does that mean you can't just view other people? Do you have to have yours on as well?
Yeah, from what I've seen, if you want to view other people, you have to have yourself have it activated for yourself as well. It might have changed, but that's how it seemed when I checked it the other day.
Yeah, and I think that's fair enough considering the situation. So
Yeah.
again, if you're not aware of this, Snapchat unveiled a new super duper magical feature, depending on your definition of super duper magical.
Yeah.
You can now, if you like reverse pinch, I think they call it, or is it just pinch in? No, reverse pinch is the other way because that's what Huawei call the gesture on their phone launcher. So if you pinch in, it will open up a map, and what that map does is it shows all of your friends on there who have opted into this service, and it lets you see where they are, right? It's interesting because it's got a lot of backlash here in the UK. I'd assume it's done something similar in the US because it's the kind of thing that happens. What do you think of it? Do you think it's a tool for stalkers or what?
Well, I think it's definitely something that needs education about the dangers of having that information out there.
Yeah.
I don't know how much it shows you. Is it just when you do pictures and stuff? Does it show where that was from?
So that's the thing. How it works is, and I think they've done it decently, in the sense that it only shows up if you're on Snapchat. So
Okay.
if I'm on Snapchat right now, my location would update. If I traveled halfway across the world, no one would know until I opened up Snapchat again, and it goes, oh, he's actually now right here. So it shows you where they last were on Snapchat. Now, personally, I can't help but feel like, it's part of it is an education kind of deal, right? You should be telling people not to share their location with strangers, right? I feel like it's not the world's job to coddle idiots through life, right?
Mm.
If you're someone who says something stupid on the internet, it shouldn't be my job to go, well, actually, what you're doing here is wrong. You should, there's some level of that, right? But there's also a level of, if you're an idiot, you're probably just an idiot. And
I think it's not just. I mean, there are idiots that are gonna sort of misunderstand it or do stuff that's a bit stupid with it.
I think
it's the youngsters that use it that aren't old enough to even understand the real issue with having that information out there.
Yeah, there's probably a bigger age thing than anything, but I meant in the sense that, on Snapchat, for example, I tend to add anyone who adds me, more or less, right? Because I'm a relatively public figure, in the sense that A, I have a YouTube channel where I post 5 videos a week, and B, I don't care about you knowing where I am, right? Because, 99% of the time I'm right here, and I'm pretty sure if you Googled my address, it would come right up. Don't do that. But, so it's not like you couldn't find me if you wanted to. So for me, it was yeah, whatever, I'll share it on there, and it's not that. It's also not an opt-out service. It's not like when you make a Snapchat account, you're automatically in it. It's an opt-in, right? So you have to say, yes, I want this feature, which is the big thing for me. And then also the fact that it's only when Snapchat is actually being used, which was the big part of it in terms of me going, yeah, it's probably fine. But I think, interestingly though, where this has implications in a couple of situations, right? In the sense that, so for me, it's fine because even though I do this, we have what, like 340 subscribers on YouTube. There's a very little chance of someone jetting around the world and like trying to stalk me. If you're I don't know, Lewis Hamilton, Bruno Mars, anyone like that, right? And you accidentally add someone back on your Snapchat, all of a sudden, they know where you are 24/7.
At that point, we dive into the Twitter news, I guess, is the best.
I guess, yes.
The best way to start
Best
this
way to
off.
start.
Mr. @Jack himself, CEO of Twitter, coming out this week and announcing that instead of giving everyone the features we like, as like better reporting features for spam bots or the ability to edit tweets after you've tweeted them, we're getting spam that's twice as long as it used to be, as the new limit is now 280 characters instead of the old 140. It's been met with a lot of criticism, and by a lot of, I mean all the criticism. It's been divisive as far as I'm concerned, at least, because I quite like I quite like the increased character count. However, I'm going to start this off with a question to both of you guys, and I guess Emily can go first. What's your opinion on the extra characters?
Well, I like it. I think it's a good move because sometimes when people are doing like rants and stuff or they're applying to a controversial topic, they need more space. But also, being someone that can't spell, it's just extra characters for me to make a mistake. And I can't edit it still. So like there's twice the amount of room for error. And I'm going to make it worse. So it's a win. It's a double-edged sword for me. I'm kind of happy, kind of not. So I'm not fussed because I don't have it. So at the moment, I don't care.
Yeah, for the moment one of us gets it, you'll know, because it'll be that is the moment that like the spam on Twitter will like double. There'll be, Jack Dorsey will be looking on the Twitter like usage charts and be like, "What's gone on here?" And they'll go, "Oh wait, no, it's just George. He's just been shit posting all day, or non-stop." Paul, what about you? Sorry.
Go on.
No, go
I
for
was
it.
just going to say also, like, it doesn't, they look funny, I think, at the moment. I'm not used to seeing tweets that big, but, hopefully it'll improve the more I see it. I don't know. I don't like the aesthetics of it at the moment. So, yeah.
Hello, Edvin in chat, by the way.
Hello.
Hello.
But yeah, I think it's good. I would have liked to go to the 160 character limit, like in text messages. I think it's going to be good for those people that sort of going on Twitter rants. Though it is kind of funny sometimes. People are trying to be all serious and ranting. It's like, this is part 1, 2. I would have actually liked a feature that I literally just thought of in the past minute while she was talking.
Go for it.
Is rather than actually adding a way to do longer tweets, is actually making it a bit easier to do a chain of tweets. So like if you send a text message, if you go over that 160 character limit, it carries on to another text message, and then it tells you up to like 5 or 6 or however many. So I think it would be nice if you could actually carry on typing, but eventually it'll be like, okay, so this will go into a second tweet and it goes as a reply automatically, rather than having to type up 140 characters worth of the rat, then another 140, then another 140. I think that would be quite cool. Like, put on a limit, because otherwise people would do it like 10, 15 tweets a long rant, and that would be a bit too overkill. But I think that'd be a cool idea. That way you could keep the sort of shortness of tweets, and still at the same point give people that want the longer tweets an option.
Now, Paul, I hate to be the one who rains on your parade. That's actually a feature that already exists with a lot of third-party Twitter apps.
Yes,
so
but
not with Twitter. It's I'll give you that. But I personally use like Talon instead of the sort of standard Twitter app on my phone, and that does it automatically. Phoenix does it as well, and so does one of the other really big ones. So it's a feature that, even though Twitter doesn't offer, a lot of the third-party people do, which is really useful. But yeah, I find myself, I think there was someone who made the point really well in the sense that I don't tend to plan out my Twitter rants, right? It just happens to me. Like, I'll start typing and I go, oh wait, no, I need 3 more tweets for this.
More. Yeah.
But I don't count how many more tweets I need, right? I'll be like typing it, I'll run out of characters and I'll like delete the last 3 and just add ... instead, and then just go on to the next tweet. It takes, a Twitter rant takes a serious amount of dedication, but I really don't have. It's real conclusion to this story.
I'm used to having bulges in my jeans. I have a really fat wallet, so
Just gonna glaze over that.
all three of you are either sighing or face palming.
I think we did all. I think all three of us did both. I'll be honest. That was just so bad. It very much reminds me of the Essential phone in the sense that, you know, they got it so wrong with all of the influencers, where the camera software was absolutely horrible. For all the review units, but those issues were fixed within 2 weeks. If you get
the camera on the Pixel 2 is one thing that looks absolutely fantastic,
without a doubt. But if you get an Essential phone right now, the camera is fine. It's a really good phone. Leo Laporte, the host of Twit, bought the Essential phone when it was first announced, and he was saying all of the camera issues were fixed within 2 weeks of the phone being released. But no one cares. It's already too late. All the reviews were being made. And
this was what happened, I think, when the HTC 10 came out.
Yeah.
And the camera, everybody said the camera was so terrible. But then later it got better. But by that time it was too late and everybody had moved on to different phones, which I think was the S7 Edge and the iPhone 6 or 7 at the time. So, yeah, this is the thing. If you get it wrong straight away, it's too late by that time.
And to be fair to Essential, they've dropped the price by $200, right? So it's now $500. And then if you get it at Best Buy, it's $50 less.
Does it have the 835 as well?
It's full. It is a flagship phone.
For 2017,
it is a steal of a price. And when they're expected to come to the UK by the end of the year.
I said earlier on to George that I would be so happy if LG wanted to be sponsors of Snappy-Tech or something, and just making sure we always have the best LG phone in our pockets and all that.
There are very few companies I'd say no to. It would have to be I don't know, even Huawei I'd say yes, Samsung I'd say yes, HTC. You know what? I probably would say what's their latest phone? I don't even know. There was a point where I felt really bad.
I probably would say no. Well, I mean, at this point,
there was a point I felt really 3 years ago. I'd say yes to HTC in a heartbeat. Oh, the U11, obviously the one you squeeze.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's not for me. I'll be honest. So I'd probably say no to HTC.
At this point, I would say just go with HTC for the next year or so, just until we get enough subscribers. But if I had a choice between any company, HTC's definitely not getting a consideration.
Yeah, no. If we got that full range,
I'm sorry.
I think for me it would either be Samsung or LG, and I think it would be for most people.
Yeah. Well, most people, they don't make you say Samsung or Apple. I mean, Apple don't pay people to have this.
I'll give you that one. But I meant from an Android point of view.
Yeah, I think the only other people that I can consider is Huawei Honor. You can kind of bundle them into one company, really, because they are one company.
Yeah.
Even though they're under two different names. But those LG, Huawei Honor, Samsung, I'd say. I wouldn't even consider the OnePlus, to be honest. If you had to, if I would consider it, but it wouldn't be. If it's the ideal company, I wouldn't. Partially because being one of the best phones out there and at a reasonable price, I could afford to buy my own OnePlus. I couldn't afford to buy a Note 8.
Touche. Well played.
I would actually never be surprised if it comes out one day that two of the world's biggest competing companies turned out to be owned by the same people and were actually a very good marketing ploy.
Well, I forgot what I was about to say. Well, the thing is, we all have to blame Microsoft for the existence of Apple, because Microsoft are the reason Apple's still alive. So if you're not aware of this, back in the mid-90s, I want to say, off the top of my head, Apple was hours away from death. That's a bit of an exaggeration, but we're going to pretend it isn't. It was, very close to dying. And what ended up happening is Microsoft put in $150 million into Apple. Not because they liked them, but because Microsoft felt they needed some form of competition. So Microsoft just poured in $150 million and just stay alive so that we have someone to beat up, basically, right? This is the equivalent of like Conor McGregor paying me, like, to keep fighting him just so, like, he doesn't have to be all on his own kind of deal. Which I'd totally take a beating from McGregor for like $200 million. Let's be real.
Yeah, I'd accept the 150.
You know what? I'll do it for 100.
Are we just gonna start bidding war?
Apparently so.
I'll do it for
Who's
90.
willing to get beat up by McGregor for less? And now, a word from our sponsor.
George has told me that apparently if I'm going to make up fake sponsors for the show, they need to be fake companies. So
That is correct.
So I am glad to announce that
We
this
have a
week
sponsor?
we are sponsored
Who
by
is it?
Lucas Shade. It is the slightly shady sponsor, or slightly shady younger brother of LucasAid.
Actually, mentioned I was complete. So this happened like over the last like literally 2 minutes, where Paul did the whole like, "Hey, we're sponsored by LucasAid," and I was like, "No, we're not. You have to use a fake name." And so he was like, "Let me grab a piece of paper." So he ran off. I had no idea. I just assumed he was going to come up with a whole fake name. That is so...
Yeah, I had
well
to.
played, good sir. Well played.
Yeah, with 1.5 minutes till showtime, I had to go find some paper and some sellotape, then quickly tear up a bit of paper to put onto it. And the pen really didn't work, so
Man, that is so
makes me have
good.
to tell,
That is. Oh, I really wish I'd have come up. That's the kind of thing that, like, oh man, God damn it. Oh man, that is well played, good sir. Well played. Let's talk about the one that's in the title. Well, there are two in the title. Let's talk about one that's first in the title, because KFC thought it'd be a good idea to release a phone. Yeah. What? Like that's literally all I can say to this. Just like what? Now, the reason they released this phone is to celebrate 30 years of being in China, so congrats KFC, I guess. But yeah, this phone is basically based on the Honor 7, Huawei Enjoy 7 Plus is, I believe, the name of the phone. So it's just based on that, more or less. So it's got a 5.5-inch 720p screen, a Snapdragon 425, 3 gigabytes of RAM, 32 gigabytes of storage, and a just over 3,000 milliamp hour battery. All of which are, all right specs when you consider the price is approximately $162, and you get free chicken. So if you purchase, let's do this. Hang on. Let me bring up the show notes, and I will cross over to. So all of these links again. If you click on the first link of the description, you'll see the show notes. I write notes for every topic, and then there are also links that go to the story. So if you want to see what I'm seeing, you can just do that. What I will do is bring this up over here, bring up the article. This is like the first piece of news I saw this week, because it broke on July 12th. So 4 days ago? And Tuesday, Wednesday is when I start getting ready for these. And it was literally the first piece of news I saw. And it was just like the funniest thing. So if we switch over, I really hope this works. Oh, beautiful. So this is on The Verge. Yeah, it's so bizarre, right? Like, but yeah, the big thing here is it's got a nice little Colonel Sanders. I don't know how to pronounce that. It's on the back. And yeah, if we the announcement video for whatever reason is in 240p, because that's the resolution of all the screens in China, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, like look at this. Bizarre, like, look, what is this? KFC, why did you do this? It comes with 100,000 like KFC digital currency,
which lets you buy chicken. 10,000, which is 100,000 K dollars. Now, what I want to know is how many K dollars does it take for you to be able to buy a piece of chicken? Like, how many? Let's see here. Can we K dollars KFC? It doesn't seem to. I want to know what the conversion rate is. Come on, guys. How much chicken can I get for K dollars? Come on. I don't know. It doesn't seem to. No one's quite sure. Also, what? This is. I just found this. What? La, la, la. Oh my! Why is this happening? So KFC. If you're listening to this, whilst trying to find the value of a K dollar, I failed miserably. However, I did stumble across the news that KFC is currently working on selling a meteorite for roughly $20,000, and it's the shape of their chicken burgers, the Zinger Burger, I believe it's called, judging by the URL to this page. That is it's on their online store. Hang on, let's take a look at their KFC. So if you go to kfclimited.com, you go to their website. Oh my god, this listing is hilarious, I have to say. This one-of-a-kind space meteorite is real space-made meteorite from space, sculpted by the harsh elements that exist in the vastness of space, and then later by 3 artists named Haley, Scott, and Mike. The Zinger chicken sandwich shaped meteorite has all the Zinger chicken sandwich shaped details that you've come to expect from a Zinger chicken sandwich. This sounds like a parody. You can actually add this. This sounds like they got ahead of themselves with the April Fool's Day joke. Like, that's what this sounds like. Don't miss your chance to own this very significant and very heavy piece of chicken sandwich space travel history. Wow. Really? Is this for real? Like, I think it is. I think this is genuinely for real. In its product, in its like description, it says contents iron and other space stuff, one of a kind, not for human consumption, as you'd hope. And it's 5 3/4 inches by 3 3/4 inches and weighs 9.5 pounds, which means nothing to me. So let's get it in a real weight. Because pounds aren't a real weight. That's 4.3. That's a heavy burger. You do not want to be eating all of that. You're gonna feel that in the morning. What else? Let's take a quick look. So there's some socks. That's relatively, that's generic, I guess. A piece of string for, the reasonable amount of $12, for which you can literally get a necklace. So you can either get a necklace or a piece of string, and they both cost the same amount of money. Who'd have guessed? What else do we have here? So, it's mostly t-shirts, some prints. So if you want a print of the Colonel, that's a neat $30, as you do. Bleeding neck. Can you imagine being that guy? Like, someone comes into your house, you're like, hey, and they're like, hey, what's that on the wall? And you're like, oh, that's just the picture of Colonel Sanders I hung on my wall. It's just there, like, all the time. Like, why? I just really like chicken, man. What can I say? Like, okay, it's a bit off. Not gonna lie. But yeah, KFC. Sorry, back onto the phone. I'm just so confused as to how this phone exists. So if we... Yeah, it'll run Android 7, lack Google's Play Store. How much is K dollars worth? Right, hang on, I know what to do. I just got an idea. If we go to Baidu and then search for K dollars there, I reckon that'll throw up a KFC website. It won't. That didn't work. $K. If we go to if we type $K KFC, not FCK, KFC. Let's try this. Ah, perfect. Right, so this is the KFC China website. Okay. Yep, that's great. Yeah, yes, please translate it. I would like it to be in English because that is the language I speak. So, if we come on, this page cannot be translated. Oh, that's useful. That's better. Right. So, this is no. Okay, let's see if we can find KFC China. Maybe if we type that in, but perfect. The KFC China website. I can't believe we've spent 15 minutes talking about KFC's phone. What is going on here? So if we wait for this to do its thing, there's a little Baidu icon here. I'm not sure what that's doing here. Maybe it was a translate thing. So let's I don't know what any of these words mean. I'm gonna guess that this yellow one is like menu or like, oh yeah, it says online ordering. Haha. Look at me go. No. Yes. I think this is what we're after. This is okay. Start ordering. That's one we want. Oh no, don't make me make an account. Hang on, let's translate. So are we just never going to hang on? What happens if we just? This is so bizarre. Why is the word chicken so weird? Suck the original What? What is this? What? Oh my days. If you ever get a chance, apparently the best thing to do is to oh man. So if you ever have some free time, I highly recommend you go to the KFC website, which is just kfc.com.cn, which kind of makes sense and I kind of should have expected. Go there and then use Google Translate to translate everything into English. Go to the menu and just look at some of the bizarre names, apparently. K, remember to eat. Let's see what's under there. This is so bizarre. This is, what? What is going on here? Like, some of these... That does not sound... Hey, do you want some KFC old tan dish chicken rice? Oh my days. Okay, let me pull up OBS. Just so I can see what you guys can see. Let's just zoom in here. Just this one right here. KFC old tan dish chicken rice. Oh, that is priceless. That is... Oh my days. I love it. Oh, hang on, I need to mute Facebook. I don't know which tab it's in. I'm assuming here. It is here. We can clip that. We don't need that to come back at all. Oh my day, that is priceless. We still haven't figured out the value of a $K. So yeah, $K could be worth anything. There's the K emojis. So part of actually back onto the phone because we got mildly carried away there. That's totally not my fault though. You get 100,000 $K, which no one knows how much about it. Oh wait, hang on. Wait. See, all I had to do was wait for the video to play for another like 3 seconds apparently. So if we go to the original video, is this in HD? Have they just limited it for? I don't think they have. No, it's just this video is literally in 240p. Like what is going on here? So you get 100,000 $K, and then if we wait a second, look at this. See, perfect. So that rice bowl thing that we were making fun of, the KFC old tan dish chicken rice. Man, this goes full circle. That thing costs 80,000 $K. So you could get, hypothetically, the KFC old tan dish chicken rice once for free with your phone. That is revolutionary. We have revolutionized the eating of chicken right here. You also get K music, which works like a virtual jukebox. So as this plays,
Basically, how it works is you can change the music being played in any KFC. So, if it's someone's birthday, you can get them to play Happy Birthday. There are lots of bars in the UK that have been started doing this, and a lot of pubs where, if you have the app on your phone, you can then, you end up being able to, like, pick the songs that play on over the sound system, which is really cool. We'll have to see how it works in terms of people abusing that system. But otherwise, it seems all right, and nothing quite like these people look like they're having fun. Look at them and their K music. Ugh, who do they think they are? Should we actually talk about tech at some point? Like, should we talk about some real tech eventually? Because we've covered one article and there was zero tech in it.
So today's podcast is Snappy-Talk.
Wait. Paul, I just want you to just look in the chat. Greg just said, "Why would I mention Paul?" this right here. I just want to. I've been asked on multiple occasions why we don't pre-record these episodes, because we wouldn't have issues like the audio issues we had at the start of this, or the internet issues we had near the end of the previous episode. The reason for that is because we get this feedback, and it's just so much. It's just so great. Like I love chatting with the chat. It's great. Oh man, Paul's about to destroy an iPad, and it's all Greg's fault. This is great. Oh man, I love this.
No, you know who really destroys the iPad?
Apple.
Not joke. It was a genuine question.
Oh man,
philosophical.
This is too good. This is too good. Just leave a panda on. Talks more sense.
Damn it! I thought this chair went lower.
Oh, this is great. I love it. Greg, you should have like an IRC running as you record your podcasts. You should have it live somewhere and record and have a live chat. This is too good.
I haven't
iOS 11. That's also a good point.
So, Greg, I want to talk to you about a business proposal I have.
No! You haven't come up with another fake ad, have you?
No. So,
okay, go for it.
I'm thinking of a really good segment for your podcast.
Mm-hmm.
It's a segment called Tech with Panda.
Okay. Carry on.
Panda comes on,
mm-hmm.
and he talks about tech for a while.
Right.
He doesn't talk about Apple tech though, so that's the important improvement to your show.
Right. Carry on.
But if he talks more sense than me, then he must talk absolute gold. So that's the important thing here. That's it's good stuff.
What I do want to say is, like, this is all Greg's fault. This is like the second time that Greg has like incited violence on the Snappy-Tech podcast. Like, the last time this happened, there was like a scramble 5 minutes before the show was due to start to like get him on. Like, it's been a real. It's like, don't look at me being like George keeps calls. Like, here's the deal. I host the podcast, right? So it tends to like fall back on me, right? That everyone's like, oh, I can't believe George let this happen. None of this is my fault. None of this is on me. This is all Paul and Greg like having like
me and Greg
outside of a
we
podcast.
Have no problems. It's George that keeps telling us, come on, we get more views if there's drama.
This time next week, Paul's going to be dropping a diss track on Greg. Just saying. That's what we need. We need diss tracks.
No, we don't.
Greg's mic is... I am this close to actually calling him to get him on the podcast. I might actually do it. Greg, do you want to actually come on? Because this would be hilarious. This would be like next level live interaction.
Actually, what... We need to get Greg to talk on about the topic that we've got later.
That's a fair point. We should probably get you on
his...
anyway. That's not too bad an idea. So Greg,
considering the last topic
I can't believe this is actually a thing that's happening right now.
Get into Photoshop quick.
I am literally in Photoshop right now.
Okay, where's Keemstar? We need a story about
we need to kill a Keemstar. Let's get right into the news. How the hell that guy is just, oh man. He is I hate that guy.
That guy
He's
pissed
just
me off so much.
Yeah.
And I mean, when he talks about a lot of people, I'm kind of like, well, I'm presuming this is a bunch of overly traumatized rubbish.
Mm-hmm.
But a few times he's done it when he's done it about like Syndicate or people where I'd been following the story before he'd done anything.
All right,
so
Paul, hang on. Before you carry on, I'm sorry. Before you carry on, I have to call Greg. Give me 2. I'm actually adding Greg to this Skype call right now. Also, my webcam seems to have frozen. I will fix that momentarily. Hang on. Let me fix my webcam first. There we are. I should be back, I think. Am I? Nope. Hang on. The issue is I use KVY cam as a webcam splitter. There we are. So that I can have Skype showing my video and thingy at the same time. So if you're watching the stream right now, you can't see anything because I have gotten rid of a screen so that Greg can be added without me accidentally revealing his Skype name. Oh, this is so good. This is so fun. I can't believe this is happening. I'm in. Oh, he hasn't answered. Oh, he's not online. Greg, get on Skype, damn it.
Whilst we're doing this, I'm actually doing the iOS 11 update.
Oh no!
Oh,
don't do that. Wait, hang on. Let me bring him back. So,
what
hang on.
version have I actually got right now?
Okay, I think I'm good to call Greg without accidentally revealing his details.
So I've currently got 10.3.3. So I'm doing the 11.2 update.
Greg, get on Skype, damn it! I can't believe this is happening right now. This right here is why I love doing a live podcast. Like, it's just when we did that 6-hour live, which if you haven't seen, by the way, we did a 6-hour live stream on Twitch. It's only going to be up there for another 2 days. So go to twitch.tv/Snappy-Tech, all one word. Go watch the 6 hours of live stream we did. It was so much fun. I highly recommend you go watch it. Paul, you look a bit off center right now. It's because we're waiting for Greg
to... You're a bit off center.
I was going to say it's because we're waiting for Greg to turn up. It's not your webcam. I meant like on the stream. You look fine. No, Paul, what are you doing? You monster. What have you done? Oh, man. I'm waiting to get a little Skype notification to say that Greg's here. And then we'll call him again. I can't believe this is happening right now. Of all the things I expected this episode, this is not one of them. Oh, Greg's here.
What up?
Hey! Right, let me switch up the thing. Right, Greg, we're waiting.
Let me just make sure I'm out of frame quickly.
Greg, it's all right. Leave the panda in.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm doing. I'm literally having the panda as my webcam.
Right, Greg, we need you to turn on your webcam, mate.
No, I don't like it.
Oh, that's an issue.
Does it not have a panda?
Hey, there we are.
Wait,
cool. I can put them the right way round because Greg is in Paul's spot right now. So let's do.
That's fine. Leave it like that.
I mean, that would have been fine.
Be Paul Stubbington.
Except Paul was also in your spot, so.
Oh yeah, please switch him.
Right, there we are. This is why. Oh my god, I don't even know what to say right now. Okay, so we now also have the wonderful Greg Morris in one hell of a twist of fate that I was never expecting.
It's your own fault for tweeting at me.
Yes, yeah, probably.
Let's talk about the Xiaomi phone.
The Xiaomi Redmi 5 and the Redmi 5 Plus, which are totally not like every other Android flagship phone ever, we promise.
Yeah.
It's completely new. It's something we've never seen before on any phone ever, with the massive displays and the Snapdragon 450 and the clock speeds, all of the clocks. It's basically a middle of a range Android phone. Snapdragon 450, 3 gigabytes of RAM, 12 megapixel camera, 720 by 1440 display.
It's the Snapdragon 625 actually.
It says 450 here.
It says 450.
625. It's 450 on the 5. Yeah, the 6.
Oh,
Yes,
the
yeah,
5
I'm
plus
talking
is
through the
the-
5 first.
Okay. Wait, where's? Okay, there it is.
There's a 3300 milliamp hour battery. It runs Android Nougat. Why? Because they're avoiding Oreo. Why? Because of Project Treble. So there you go. We can talk about that later. Actually,
Bloody cheap though.
yes. So the Redmi 5 is comes in at a cheap and cheerful. What was it, like $170? Can't actually.
So
five?
the base option is $125 or $135. The plus is $150 or $195.
Oh yeah, I got
That's
it now.
what. That's really good, actually.
So, well, the thing is, the specs aren't quite flagship.
No.
But as a mid to the range phone, because I mean, it's only 2 gig of RAM with 16 gig of storage, or 3 gig with 32 gig of storage on the. Is that just on the base?
That's
on
the base.
5?
The plus is 3 and 32, or 4 and 64.
Yeah.
Which actually,
So
hang on, before we carry on, I just want to say, guys, like OnePlus does this, Xiaomi now does this. Can you guys just put like the same amount of RAM across all devices for Christ's
Yeah,
sake? Like,
please.
is it really that hard? Like, come on, guys.
But I suppose it's one way of making the people that don't use their phones as much don't need to store as much on their phones. 'Cause generally, the power users
the
have
storage
more
is
stuff
fair
on their
enough.
phones as well.
But
RAM
it's
it's a way of saving money for people that don't need it.
Yeah, I
don't
suppose if
expect.
you need a new phone but you're not too fussed about how it's going to perform, you're obviously going to get the one that's got less RAM, less storage, sort of thing.
Having said that, if you want a flagship phone and you're only prepared to pay $150 instead of $195, then you are probably a tight bastard.
Or Paul.
So,
that works too,
yeah.
Paul. Just
Yeah,
putting that out there.
So, yeah.
People are mistaking what innovation actually is.
Yeah, exactly.
And I notice it a lot because a lot of phones are like, oh, it's new and it's innovative, but another phone that came out years ago already has that. So it's not innovative. It's innovative for your company, but it's not new. And I think the whole problem is now that a general phone's lifespan, say, maximum 2 years, this phone's going to last 2 years and then something is going to go wrong with it because they expect the new one to be out by then. And they know you're going to have to buy it because this one's broken. And that's what we've got a trend going. Like, they know that the phone you have currently is not going to survive long enough for you to be able to not buy the next one. And I think that's the problem, that they've set up this trend of phones that tend not to survive long enough compared to older phones, like very old, sort of Blackberries, all the old Nokias last years, you know. But I've had phones that last their 2-year contract and I will do nothing wrong to them, but they stop working. And then I have to buy a new one and they have to release a new one to keep me buying. And I think that's the problem. That's the market that they've developed.
So it will be... Oh, something just happened on Twitter. So it will be pre-recorded and will be uploaded and published for about 5 p.m. just to get into the groove of the new time slot. So expect a video next week that is pre-recorded, and it means that we won't be live on Twitch. So what the hell is happening on Twitter? I'm getting so many notifications from Twitter right now. Hang on, let me mute Chrome.
At least 2 of them are mine.
Yeah, like, I saw you like
G Chataniti and Snappy-Tech in one tweet.
I saw you like
as well as
moving to the
retweeting one
camera, and I was
actually.
like, screw you, Paul.
I retweeted one of your tweets as well. Wait,
Oh God.
did you say you muted
All
it?
the tags.
No,
Yeah.
I'm trying to. I can't.
Okay, cool.
I can't.
I can't mute Twitter right now. Sorry, before we carry on, I just want to take a second to shame everyone in both chats, because it's not like it's just Twitch or just YouTube. Both chats are like hitting on the close-up of Paul. They're like, oh my god, this is so great.
It's
We have
Paul.
full screen Paul.
Full
Chats
screen Paul.
are just hitting on him right now. So Equifax haven't had a good week. They got breached a couple of weeks ago. That was not good. And then someone clearly didn't brief their PR team, or anyone who had access to the Twitter apparently, because they kept sending the link to the fake website. So what Equifax did is they set up equifaxsecurity2017.com, right? So they set up that domain as a website where people who had issues would go to get all of the information about the thing. And I just want to point out that this is a very stupid idea. Never do this. If you are hacked and you need to create a web page, you make that the homepage of your normal website, right? That's just what you do. You don't create equifaxsecurity2017.com, because then you end up in a situation which Equifax have ended up with, which is someone registered the domain Security Equifax 2017, which is only slightly different, but very, very wrong. It's actually, if you tried to access it with Chrome right now, you will actually get a warning saying that it's a deceptive site. You get a massive red... Actually, let me switch to my main screen. You get a massive red warning symbol saying it's a deceptive website because it was reported to... oh, come on! It was reported to Google and to Virgin Media, apparently, because once I bypassed it through Google, Virgin Media refuses to let me through. So, you know, they've really jumped on top of that. But basically, someone created that, and it was used to collect all of the information, and the official Equifax Twitter was giving people that link, because that's what happens when you create a temporary URL that is ridiculous and that can be easily copied, like the idiots at Equifax. So congrats to them. That's all I have to say. What a great show we're having. Before we carry on, let's have another quick word from one of our sponsors.
And this week we've got a sponsor. So for those that don't know, well, like a bit of sort of throwback here. I think it was like the first episode I was on. I kept making up fake sponsors from real companies.
No, that's not true. Okay, the first episode you were on, you kept name dropping real companies.
Yeah,
and I was like, you can't name drop real companies.
I was name dropping real companies as like, but they were fake sponsors, but they were real companies, and I got told off for this. So apparently, I can drop fake sponsors, but it can't be real companies. So. Today we are actually sponsored by a TV show that we've got in the makes at the moment. It was launched on April 1st.
Was it? Actually, that's cool. That's a good date to launch. That was a Monday.
Yeah, it's currently got 9 seasons, apparently, according to this box set.
9 seasons. What's the show called, Paul?
Well, it's called The Big Bong Theory. So... basically, we go and test bigger and better bongs each episode and test how to make a very good big bong. So...
God damn it. I did not see that one. Well played, good sir.
So yeah, I even have the box set here.
My God, that is beautiful.
I actually have red pen as well to... where's the thing? So red pen to actually match what the box set has as well. So yeah, the Big Bong Theory.
The moment these podcasts go viral, all of these fake sponsors are going to be so lucrative. You're going to be able to sell just copies of the Big Bang Theory box sets that you've like crossed out the A and written an O on, and like sell them for like triple the price.
That or we're going to get sued by the Big Bang Theory and by LucasAid for our Luke shades, but. I've actually still got the bottle on my desk, just holding up to the camera now.
The Honor 9X, is it 9X or 10X the new one? I think it's the V10 and the 9X, right?
I think so, yeah.
So the Honor 9X, we got to review the 7X, and it was it the 7X or the
6X?
It was the 6X, I think. But
one of them.
So many numbers. Just stop it. Honor, honestly. I'm kidding, Honor, I love you. If you want to send me a phone, I'd totally be down to review it. But you know, when I first used that phone, I felt like it was a decent phone and the specs were all right. But in the case of that phone, the software was just a bit too bloated. And now we're at a point where at that same price range, you're getting a bit more power and you know, especially with the new software is a lot less bloated. Rockwell points out it's the 7X, so we weren't even close. This is why you don't have like two phones with vastly different number schemes. Like Samsung does this really well, where the Note
and they already
the
have
S
an
are
Honor
on the
8.
same number, and there's already the Honor 8 and the Honor 9, right?
Well, see, the Note and the S are on the same number because they're the same year. But yeah, Honor's naming scheme is ridiculous.
All of the numbers.
And because there is already an 8, and I think there's another similar one. It's like
just
the
a real mess, I'll be
most Honor
honest.
devices are now being sold under the name of Huawei Honor as well. So, and
there's
there's
a real consistency there. Just
yes.
because there's the Honor 8 and the Honor 9, because there's an Honor 9 as well. And if you
Yeah.
go, let me bring
This
this
is
up
not.
for the so this is it.
Is
Yeah.
the Honor 9 one of the ones I looked at actually?
The Honor 9 would have been, it's a very nice phone.
Yeah, I
It's
think
a lovely
so.
phone. I accept all of your cookies.
So I think that was on offer the other week, wasn't it?
So if I'm currently on the Honor website. So if you go to hihonor.com, and then go on the smartphone, hit View More. These are the phones they currently offer. Now I want you to tell me if you can tell just by the name which ones were released sooner. And I'm going to go by numerical order here. So we have the Honor 6A, the Honor 6X, the Honor 7X, the Honor 8, the Honor 8 Pro, the Honor 9, and the Honor View 10. Like, there's a real consolidation here needed.
Why
of their naming
can't they
schemes.
just do what Sony does with the PlayStation? Just be like, it's the PlayStation, the PS2, the PS3, the PS4. Why can't they just be
Or do
normal?
what Sony does for their phones. The Xperia
Oh, no.
XA1,
Oh,
the
no.
XZ, the XZ Premium, the XZ, is it Premium Platinum or something?
You can tell those
like
are
that?
two very different marketing departments.
There's always two elements, man. Like I've just been obsessing over audio and lighting. You know, not that visual quality doesn't matter, but you just don't realize how many people don't tolerate bad audio and bad lighting compared to like image quality. You know
what I
and-
will say, and I'm going to use my whiteboard now to portray my point. Are you ready for this?
Yeah,
Let me-
Make
hang
it
on,
happen,
wait.
make it
We're going
happen.
full visual. What I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in on mine. There we are. Look, it's me. I'm now going to use this whiteboard to demonstrate. I didn't see this coming, so ignore what it already says.
This is
what
an
I will
after-school
do-
session now.
Right. So we have, this is like, I'm going to have to do this with my right hand, so excuse the bad quality. But if we have like a line graph, right here, and then we have, so if we have audio, so this is like perception, and then this is quality, right?
Yeah.
So you can have low quality video, but it's perceived like quite highly,
Yeah.
right? Or you can have ultra high quality video and it's perceived ultra high.
Yeah.
However, if you have poor quality video, poor quality audio, it is perceived really badly.
Oh,
And if you
very,
have-
very bad.
And if you have ultra high quality audio, it's perceived as about average.
Yeah.
Right? So you have sort of that versus that.
That.
So you can have, you can have average quality video, but you need above average quality audio to kind of match that.
No, 100%. Because one thing you start learning with post production is there is things, even if you had, let's just say 720p video quality, there's things in post that you can help fix that. So
Yeah.
long as your lighting is good and everything is exposed properly, you can have sharpening. You can actually learn how to color correct a little bit. You can learn how to look up tables like LUTs to give like a different image, whether you want kind of like a warm, a colder, a filmic look, a more broadcast look. You can do things to kind of like compensate for the fact that your resolution is not maybe as crispy, or your dynamic range from your camera is not as sharp, or your low light performance is not good. But like lighting, and the reason why I'm saying it from experience, where I've shot like a whole video before, and the audio was so terrible, but the video looked so good, I could not bring myself to use that audio one. And I could not bring myself to save the audio. It was impossible to save it in post. Whereas I've had situations where maybe stuff has just been blown out visually and I've been able to recover it in post. Maybe not fully, but it's like, is the end user really going to notice that the highlights or the exposure was so blown out where I couldn't recover it? No. You know, does it mean I shouldn't care about it next time? No. But it's so much more important to make sure to get the audio and the lighting right, you know, the set. So no, it's that's a good shout.
For those that don't know, it's small, not too interesting or not too big, or it's a story without too much ramifications for anyone. Equifax have been hacked. The story came out, was it this week, wasn't it?
Earlier this week.
Yeah, the hack was totally this week, or totally this month, or totally multiple months ago, wasn't it? It's about, was it like 2 months ago?
Yep. So it lasted. The crazy thing is that it lasted like 6 weeks as well. So it took. So it was. So to lay out the timeline, Equifax found out that it had happened about 6 weeks ago. Part of what they found was that it had been going on for 6 weeks until they realized it had happened, which isn't exactly encouraging, right? Let's be real here. If I'm getting hacked for 6 weeks and then realize, that's probably a bit too long.
Yeah, they might as well just put like some random person in charge of cybersecurity over there.
Just have a sign that reads "Hack us."
Yeah.
So they got hacked, which if you're in the UK, like the majority of our listeners are, you might be wondering why that's such a big deal. Because you might not even have heard of Equifax, which is fair enough, because it's not an issue for you, but it is an issue for 143 million US consumers who have had their social security number leaked.
Well, you say it's not an issue for us. Equifax actually do deal with a few companies in the UK. One of them, there was another couple of big companies, but I know one of them was Capital One, who are a big credit card company, and apparently, I think there's the numbers in sort of like over like 10, 20 million or something of UK people could be affected as well. They don't know much. I mean, the Americans don't even know whether they've been affected or not, because frankly, Equifax have been useless in the matter of telling people. But they've actually, the people that see over all of this stuff in the UK have actually said to Equifax, whatever people in the UK that actually you had details of, you need to get in touch with them and tell them, because most people in the UK haven't heard of them.
Yeah.
And they, even if they are in the, they have information in the Equifax database, they would definitely, or like it would be like 99.99% sure they didn't have any information in there. So there's a high chance a lot of us in the UK have actually been affected without even knowing that Equifax had dealt with any of our information. And it's only because a few companies in the UK that have some quite important information on us, like credit card and stuff like that, use Equifax to store all of their data, just like the American companies use.
Can I just point out that when I said, what was the number, 143 million users, that might be a number that you don't take to heart because, you know, for whatever reason. I just want to point out that is 40% of the US population. It's a lot of people. It is it's major. It's a major breach. And the big story for me is, and this is interesting as far as I'm concerned, is what viewers can see on screen right now, where 3 Equifax executives sold stock just before the hack was revealed. That is major shade. Like, that is very, very shady, as far as I'm concerned.
it wasn't a slight bit of shedding either. I mean, in sort of the amount they owned, I mean the biggest percentage that any of the three sold, I think, was 13%. He was the one that sort of came out with the most money out of the three. So in sort of grand scheme of things, they could have shed like half or more. But is it hella shady? If they'd done it in the 6 weeks when they hadn't even figured out as a company that they'd sort of been hacked yet, fair enough. But it happened several days after the hack happened, and the company has come out and said that these executives didn't even know about it yet. And I think a hack this big, there is no way that some company executives did not know about it.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you buy that statement? Because
I don't buy it at all.
I personally don't, not even remotely.
The only way they wouldn't know about it, I think even then, I think if they was on holiday or something like that, where they wasn't able to get in touch with them, I think even then though they would have at least got like a text or an email or something or a call, even if they're freaking halfway across the world. The
Especially
company are
if
going
you're
to say,
selling stock, right?
Yeah.
If you're in a position where you can sell your stock, then you're probably in a position to receive emails.
yeah,
Right. Tesla have really managed to split opinion like no company before, right?
Yeah.
So if you haven't heard this story, Tesla stocks dropped by 7% the other day. I haven't seen what it is at currently, actually. Let me check. It is currently, I'm not even sure if it ever recovered. Well, it's up 1.5% today. But no, it hasn't fully recovered. It was at 370, I want to call it, dollars per share. It's currently trading at 313. And basically because there were, what was it, 12 analysts, I want to say? Sorry, 24 analysts who valued Tesla by, you know, how much they deemed each share to be worth. 24 analysts, and there was a perfect split. 8 analysts said you should buy some Tesla stocks right now. 8 analysts said you should sell your Tesla stocks right now. And 8 analysts said, we're not quite sure. Like, it's just such a massive range that you don't usually see. And Goldman Sachs rated this company, which is currently, as I said, $313 per share, at roughly 180. Like, that is massive.
Yeah, just I didn't see massive drop. It's really a thing that only really Tesla or Elon Musk can really do. Have like 3 sets of 8 analysts all saying completely different things about the company and whether you should buy or sell stocks. It's just it's the Elon Musk effect.
Yeah, the Musk effect. Feeling musky.
Yeah.
Well, because Syndicate actually handed me his one, like after the event, when we was chatting in the AFK lounge. Syndicate actually handed me his phone to play with, and he said, "Oh, the only thing with my phone, it's not got the camera update, because I think the camera quality was like really
they pushed it
questionable before their update."
That's something I was skeptical about as well when I was looking at the camera, because I know with some phones, like they say, oh, the camera's amazing, but it depends on when you get it into the hands of the people.
Yeah.
And I was trying to ask the people. I ended up getting to speak to a software engineer for them. That I got a lot of information out of him. I was asking about the camera update and when the portrait mode that everyone seems to have copied from Apple. Just the name, even.
I think Apple copied it from Huawei though, if I recall correct. Because I remember I remember the Mate S we got like 2 years ago to review that had portrait mode. So I think it was like copied off of Huawei.
But yeah, he was saying that was next on the list for priority. So hopefully by the time it's out, it's going to have these updates. I mean, he was telling me that everybody in the team was getting software updates like every single day.
Yeah.
Because they were working on new features, and he was saying that a lot of the team from Nextbit were also trying to make it as pure as possible with Android and stuff like that.
I don't spend anywhere near as much time on Facebook compared to the other platforms, especially Twitter, because I'm in my opinion, like just where I've come to, I've not really become favored to it based on this reason. And it's great you brought up this topic because again, me and my wife discussed this, and yeah, 100%, 100%. I think just with what happened with the whole fake news stuff and just how ads are manipulated on it, and I question the platform a lot more, especially because of how powerful it is. You know, it's still a very powerful platform, and that in itself makes it very, very, you know, it's yeah. I lean more if it's to answer the question of the topic, especially it being the main topic of this pod. I lean more towards Facebook. I lean more towards the bad. Obviously, you can make the argument for any of the other platforms, Instagram, in terms of like maybe how people can reveal their themselves in a non, you know, provocative way, or in a provocative way. It can promote that in certain sense. You can make that argument. You know, you can make the same argument for Twitter, i.e. when you see, you know, how people behave on Twitter in terms of just that freedom of speech being taken to a very, you know, major extent. You can make that argument, you know, you can for every single platform, but it's just, again, Facebook, I make that argument more for it based on, you know, what you've said about how it can leave you feeling, kind of crap.
Yeah.
You know, which subconsciously it's a very dangerous thing to kind of put out, and for the exec to come out publicly and kind of like bash, he or she, I'm not sure if it's a he or she, he would have known the internal things. If he's kind of like been a little bit of a whistleblower, he would know the internal things that would have happened for such a model to being created. Yeah. You know, so that's something to take into consideration based on that coming out as well.
I feel like the HomePod is more just a speaker than the Home Max.
I mean, Bloomberg, they wrote about the kind of journey of the HomePod, and it's been like canned and like brought back to life several times. And I think that they said that it was originally going to be just a speaker that works with AirPlay 2, which we don't really know whether it's ready to ship or what it actually does, and in some very un-Apple like, they're kind of half-assed sort of telling you bits and pieces about it. I mean, the price and stuff, like you say, is not really an issue, but the Google Home stuff is definitely going to be far more intelligent just by putting a Google Assistant inside it. I mean, they only today, a few days ago, said that it can answer like multiple questions about stuff in the same sort of command now. So Apple seemed to be limiting Siri to do different things on different devices, and Google are just like, no, everybody can have the assistant. It needs to be everywhere. And that's, I presume that's why they're trying to push into the market of more expensive and better sounding speakers as well, because I mean, it's just all about the data, isn't it?
We're currently working on a review that will be coming up. We'll be filming it next Wednesday. I'm highly excited. The phone is currently downstairs. That review is going to be a lot of fun. We're going to be torturing Greg. I'm not sure if you're aware of this. Conker, who make rugged devices, sent me a phone with the sole purpose being for me to destroy it.
That sounds like the best weekend ever.
It's on a Wednesday, so it's not quite a weekend. But we're basically doing a day in the life with this phone where everything goes wrong. So it's going to be trucked down some stairs, left in a dishwasher. We're going to play golf with it as the putter, all that jazz. Putter. And the idea being that the phone, hopefully, they're pretty confident it's going to survive. They're a lot more confident than I would be in that situation. I'll start that.
The only thing they said about, we'll just leave this to last, just in case, was the dishwasher. They wasn't sure whether the heat mixed with the water may cause an issue. That they think it should be fine, but of course, putting a phone in a dishwasher isn't usually something they try. So, understandable. when people see Pro, they just think better.
Yeah, that is fair. I'll give you that one. Yeah.
So that's why I play on Pro on FIFA, because I'm obviously better.
Yeah, totally.
Fun fact about FIFA: it looks like I'm going to qualify on squad battles on Elite 2, which is the top 4%.
Oh my
Nice.
god, get a life. At least stream that. That's what Emily does.
I
God.
had to play this week
Oh.
45 games, 24 of which were across the weekend.
Oh my days.
Yes, I have no life.
Yeah, we know.
This is why I'm here.
But the reason I'm on Instagram is if I scroll down, you can see I did the whole I did these a series of pictures leading up to my birthday, which was really cool.
Yeah.
But when I first rebooted my Instagram, I should say, because my first picture is from February 26th, 2014, and then my next one was June 29th of this year. So this is the real first picture on Instagram if we're being honest here. And it's my So Much More tattoo. Look, I've got it on my arm. There it is. It's my tattoo. Right? And and on this I mentioned that and again I'm quoting myself here, I will still be using daily stories on my Snapchat brackets G_Chachnize. There's a snap code on the bottom of this live stream. Go follow me. Go do it right now. I'm waiting for you. I daily vlog on that thing, basically. But this is for the highlights, the things I want to be permanent. Now, that line really stuck with me. The fact that I said this was for the highlights. And so that was on, when was this? June 29th. Whilst in Georgia later on in the year, on September 1st, I'd been having a rough day, and I was on holiday, so it wasn't a work-related thing. It was just occasionally you have a bad day, right? It just happens. Yeah. And I'd been thinking about it, and I wrote this massive paragraph of a post, or multi-paragraph post, I should say. It took forever. However, I'm gonna read this out in full, not because it's related to technology, but because we've been discussing the whole Facebook thing, and I feel like it's important to get this message out there. I'm now gonna read this word for word, and I apologize if you don't care. If you're watching this live, skip forward literally 30 seconds. Sorry, if you're not watching this live, I should say. If you're watching this live, it's good for you. Trust me. So this is me quoting myself. I said, I was thinking about what I said in my first proper Instagram post, and I realized it was irresponsible. I stated that Instagram was for my highlights, like that's all life is, a list of events going from one peak to the next. The truth is, life is much bumpier than that. Sure, there are high points, but there are low points. The difference is, we all have social media now. We're all competing to show off how great our life is, by showing off that cute selfie you took at a party, or how you went out on a date with that perfect person, completely ignoring the fact that you threw up at the party and then was hungover for the entire next day, or the argument you had with your partner just a few hours before you went out. Social media has become a bubble which makes you feel worse when you're bad, because we all stand here and show off how perfect our lives are and then tell you that you're wrong for feeling sad for even a second. We're told that other people have bad days. And you know what? Just because it's true doesn't mean I can't have a bad day too. Or a bad week. People say that you can't be happy all of the time because without pain, you couldn't appreciate the lack of it. However, I'm not happy because of the pain. I'm happy regardless of the pain. So I decided that I'm not going to act like everything is perfect all of the time. The truth is, I've had a pretty shitty day. I couldn't tell you why I felt like shit. I just did. I'm on holiday in my favorite place on earth. However, the fact is, you can never hide from your demon for too long. I implore you to do the same. Not because it's easy, but because it's the right thing to do. If you're having a rough day, talk about it. There isn't always a reason, and there isn't always someone to blame. But talking about it will at least raise awareness, and people will know that when they feel shitty, they shouldn't feel alone. What I will point out is this is really controversial. I just want to point out, and if you use this as your sole reference point for how good a camera is, don't. But DxOMark dropped their iPhone 10 rating, and it's actually 97 to the Pixel's 98.
And Marquez Brownlee, Mr.
He did
MKBHD,
he did a great breakdown.
Yeah, that was one of the video even went trending because I just knew that video would trend just because of the fact that it was so controversial. But funny enough, the sub score of the iPhone 10 is actually the highest on any smartphone. You know how he broke it down about the overall score is very deceptive unless you look into the sub scores of each phone. The iPhone 10 has the highest sub score of 102, if I remember right, and he tweeted it.
So I'm looking at them right now. The Pixel 2 has 99 for photo and 96 for video. The iPhone 10 has 101 for photo and 89 for video.
There we go. So the sub score, this is what Marquez was talking about. That they plague on this thing of punching out an overall score that makes it seem like it's out of 100 when it's not. And then people don't actually look at DxOMark's website because they don't promote it. It's just too much jargon and stuff to actually realize that there's sub scores of stuff what's going on. So what was great about his breakdown was the fact that he didn't diss their methodology because he said they're legit. You know, they like
it's repeatable and they go full out with it.
Yeah, you know, but where there's question marks and where there's that gray area and that gray line is they are also a consulting agency. So whoever's paying more, who's to say that they're not getting more favorable results if that is true or not?
Yeah.
And it's like you can't call them out on it because the methodology of how they do their testing is so thorough that it's now, you know, you can see where the lines blur. You see, so this is where it's like, be careful with DxOMark. They are a legit company, especially with all the other camera companies and channels that are followed. They really reference to them in terms of mirrorless camera testing, digital single lens reflex cameras, DSLR cameras and stuff. So they're legit, but just be careful in that overall score because that overall score is deceptive. And it's the way he said it that, you know, although the Pixel has, you know, the better overall score, which phone would you prefer?
Did someone say they want to hear another ad? Okay.
I do have a sponsor today.
Yes. Oh, I forgot about this.
So
go on, tell us about your sponsor.
As people know, I had a big order of Skittles coming in earlier in the week.
Oh yeah, you did as well.
So I got in contact with the company, and it turns out they're going into the market of sweets that make you poo. So they've renamed it.
No. That is so bad. Don't say it out loud or I will murder you. If you want to see what it is, go to the YouTube. You can probably tell. If not, if the joke evades you, go to the YouTube version, skip to whatever it is, 1 hour, 12 minutes into the thing, near the end of the podcast. You'll see the joke.
Yeah, I wasn't going to go with it. Then I kind of realised how you would react.
Yeah.
And make it so much better for me.
No. If you want to see it, go to the video version. It's near the end. You will.
Smart use for Snap's open AR platform is to preview real-sized menu items.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So basically, this week they launched something called Lens Studio.
They did, because I think I mentioned it. They actually released it last week, and I mentioned it in passing with Benjamin Abawaji. I used it to get the Snappy-Tech logo on Snapchat.
In the past week or whatever.
Yeah. Because I used it to get the Snappy-Tech logo in Snapchat, and that was fun.
Oh, yeah, I remember now. So, for people that don't realise, now you can get your own lenses into their augmented reality thing. And part of the thing that you can do with that, or I think you need to do with that, you get a little snap code that you need to scan, and then you get that put into your library for, I think it's for like a year or something.
You can decide, like, so in the case, like when you're doing distribution, at least you can decide. You can say they snap it and they get it for an hour, or So when you went for if you go onto the Spectacles website, they had a snap code for you to try them on, and that lasts for I think 2 hours. So you can decide as the vendor how long you want them to have access to it for.
Okay. And so in this particular use, people, or there was someone that was saying about you could use this as a view before you buy it, kind of thing. So you would have snap codes next to the menu items, and you'd scan them, and then you could actually view it in real size on your screen, effectively.
Right.
And you could actually see how the food would look. And of course, we know it's food or pictures of food on a menu is notorious for looking bad. And of course, they can't fit a proper picture of food on every menu. So this actually allows us to see the food we're ordering before we've ordered it.
Yeah.
Having said that, I mean, to put a snap code next to every thing could be a slight issue, but that's a workaroundable issue.
I think the better way to do it would be to be able to have like a Snapchat version of the menu, where like if you scanned one snap code and then you could scroll through
a
menu
snap
items.
library kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, there are ways around this. It's an early idea that someone's came up with, and in this case, I'll actually send you the article over.
Please do.
So that's the article I'm looking at the moment. They've actually got a burger. Oh, say the media ain't playing. But so you could actually see a burger on a plate in front of you. And in someone's case, they used it to have it in front of their iMac.
Oh yeah, hang on. Let me play this to. There you are. Let me just show this to the people. Oh, it's got sound. There you are. So they can see this right now. Carry on.
Yeah, and I of course, this is an idea that could be matured for definite. It is an idea that surely will have teething problems, especially at the newness. However, it's a interesting use for this. I mean, it is not something that anyone would automatically think of when you say Snapchat now allows you to put in your own lenses into the system. But I am excited if this are the kind of ideas people are thinking of that you could bring out with this system, then carry on, please.
Yeah, it's definitely it's one of those things where the iPhone wasn't a big deal until they released the App Store and people could do things that Apple would never have thought of, right? I think now that the AR kit, the AR tech behind Snapchat is open and anyone can do anything, it means that we'll see things that Snapchat would never have thought of doing.
Yeah,
and this is one of those things, and I hope that I really hope this fuels people to create. For me, doing the Snappy-Tech logo was a bit of fun, as far as I'm concerned. But I feel like there are actual, genuine uses people will think of for this, and even if, from an educational point of view, I think being able to put history right in front of someone in the real world would be really useful.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing when you make the ability to make add-ons or apps, however you want to call it, for whatever system, that is a great step forward for a lot of platforms, because no matter how big the company is, they can't do it all. When a company like Apple, Amazon, Google, whatever, make a system, they'll make a bunch of things for it, but they are very much tied by, are they going to make enough money to make it worth it, or make enough money at all? Is it going to actually is it going to be any good? Do we care if it's any good? Whereas when you give coders the opportunity to just make it, even if it's just for themselves, if they find a use case, they're going to then going to make it, and it means you get all of these weird and wonderful app ideas that really kick off, just because no one thought of it before, because no one realized it was something that could come in useful, but it just magically does.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful time or a wonderful story to end for Christmas.
Yes, and hopefully someone will come up with like a Christmas tree one. I'm sure Snapchat will do that. What I will say is, as far as I'm aware, it is actually snowing outside right now. So although we're 2 hours away from actual Christmas Day, it is expected to be snowing all day tomorrow. So we are getting a proper snow-filled Christmas over here, which is great.
There was the possibility of actually having snow today. If like a couple of weeks ago, they did wonder whether we'd get snow today. They weren't sure though. But I can tell you, unless something drastic happens, we are not getting a white Christmas here because this is currently 10 degrees.
Oh wow!
So we're not even going to get a frosty Christmas. So yeah.
It'll be a hot, sticky Christmas that you kind of wish you weren't a part of. Oh man! On that note, I think that's where we should call it. Unless you want to talk about something else, I don't know. Like I have one topic about how Apple Maps is so bad, and they did a deep dive into what makes Google Maps so much better.
I need to.
But I feel like I think like we made enough fun of Apple. Oh, actually, what I do want to discuss really, really quickly though, is Bitcoin.
Oh, damn it.
Yes.
No, bad.
Yes, good. So a Bitcoin is currently worth. I want to find out what it trades on Coinbase for right now. So on Coinbase in the last week, it has dropped by 27%. It has dropped by price by about £4,000 per Bitcoin. This has been due to the fact that Bitcoin Cash hasn't exactly had the best of weeks. It became available on Coinbase. However, there were leaked talks of insider trading. Interestingly, because of this whole sitch, Bitcoin Cash has gone up by about 50% in the last week before it was released on Coinbase. It then went up by 100%, and then it dropped by about 50 from there. So it's averaged out to plus 50%, but it went through one hell of a peak and valley in the process. Bitcoin has just been dropping. It's dropped about 30%. People are using this as like the death knell of Bitcoin. They're like, Bitcoin is finally officially dead. However, although the drop of 30%, is the single biggest drop by percentage. Sorry, by amount, it's not the biggest by percent. In fact, looking back at just October this year, it dropped by about what does this work out to? About 15%. That was just a few months ago, and Bitcoin does
about it a 1.20% drop.
Yeah, so Bitcoin has this habit of like dropping and then spiking back up again. So, and it's actually already doing that because it had dropped to about 30%. And if you look at the graph, like for the last month, for example, you can see where it's starting to pick back up again, ever so slightly.
Well, the thing is, it hit, I think it was like 11K, then it went back down to about 8,500. That's when we spoke about it. And people, I think the person that was on the show actually even said about they reckon it will just keep hitting its peak at around 11-ish, 12-ish, around there, and then drop back.
It peaked at 14.5. Yeah.
Actually, it peaked at slightly more. I'm pretty sure it peaked at a bit more than that. I was reading something that said about 15.
It was 18 or like $19,000, I think. I'm looking at it right now.
Oh, okay, you're looking at pounds, are you?
Yes, I'm looking at it in pounds.
I'm looking at dollars.
No. So yeah, it peaked at like $1,900. It's because my account's in pounds. The Bitcoin I own is in, My Coinbase account is in GBP. Oh, by the way, I own some Bitcoin. I have, just as a heads up, just to be transparent, I'm invested in it. If you go buy Bitcoin, I'd appreciate it because the value would go up a bit. But I definitely think it's the kind of thing where, I don't know, we'll see. I expect it to bounce back come, February next year. I expect it to have been where it is at right now, at least. As always, though, it is a super volatile currency. And so if you do invest, don't invest anything that's like a life-changing amount of money. Put in an amount you're able to lose. But yeah, the fact that Bitcoin has dropped 27% in the last week is not reassuring for a lot of people. However, I think we'll see it bounce back. We have no way of knowing until the future, obviously. I've only put in enough money so that if it was to completely die, right, if it was to become a total net worth of zero, I'd be no worse off than I am now, right? Like I can afford to lose that amount of money. Like, don't get me wrong, it would suck, but it wouldn't it wouldn't have long-term financial implications, right?
Yeah, but I think like it has dropped before, and it will drop again. But frankly, it's already went up to it's currently at $13,600 to one Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Which it still is raising. It will recover. It will get back to a new high, surely. And anyone that thought the last 20% drop was the death of Bitcoin, or the sign of the death of Bitcoin, and then cashed out for that reason, that they've been proved that that's wrong, and it could just carry on with that. It may show us this is where it does have a quicker, it doesn't get its chance to go back up between each drop, but we'll see. Weeks will show.
And I think it's also worth noting that, at least in part, that the people who are dropping this are the people who are more what's what I'm looking for, like skeptical about it, right? The people who, if you go on like the Bitcoin subreddit, for example, a lot of them are pointing out that, and I think they want it to succeed more than most, right? Obviously, but they're the people who are like, oh, we've been through this before, it happens all the time, just hold it until it starts going back up again. And I think that's fair. I think it's the people who are scared, right, or dropped it as soon as they saw it start to go down. Whereas I can imagine once everyone who was terrified about it dropping, it's now going back up again, because the people who really believe in Bitcoin are sticking around. I think that will be the point it starts dying, the point when people who really believe in the ability of Bitcoin to maintain value starts dropping, right?
Yeah, I think between that and the people that have genuinely invested money into Bitcoin, which I think are one in the same kind of thing. Once they see or like start to think, okay, I think this is time to cash out. Once those people start thinking cash out time, that is when it's going to drop and fail. However, it's going to need a few more drastic drops to do that. I think if it does any more than 35%, I think there's going to be a lot of skepticism in it.
Yeah, it is slowly picking up, but I think it will be one of those things where we'll see. Yeah, interestingly, there was a graph I showed my dad of Google interest in Bitcoin versus the value of Bitcoin, and they map almost flawlessly. Like it is, they are crazy close to each other. Where like Google interest goes up, the value of a Bitcoin goes up, and like almost perfectly.
Actually, one thing I do want to say though is the problem is like with people suddenly panicking and cashing out after a drop. Most people aren't going to do that. They're gonna wait for it to recover at least a little bit so they can get just that bit more out. At which point, once it's recovering, they're probably regaining their whatchamacallit, that they've got reassurance that it's not completely dead again. So it starts going up, and until the next time it drops. At which point they're like, okay, we know it's going to recover a bit. Let's wait till then to cash out again. At which point they suddenly have the faith in the thing again. So it is. I mean, as I say, it's going to take a while for people to realize that maybe it's not going to last forever. But I certainly think that it can go a lot higher than it currently is. When I say a lot, I don't necessarily mean like 10 times or something, but a few more.
And I think we'll
quite
see.
easily go.
I think it's very much an adoption situation, right? If countries start adopting it a lot more, I think we'll see I think we'll see it go up. But I think that's what it's down to at this point. We'll see.
Yeah, certainly. You had to go and ruin my nice, happy ending for Christmas.
Yes, I
with
did.
The horribleness of Bitcoin. And we've spoken about it so much. I can't be arsed with it anymore.
I'm sorry, I had to. I felt like we had to talk Bitcoin. It's such a big deal right now. That like even like people I know who don't usually talk about technology are talking about Bitcoin.
And they probably
and you know, more and more people are taking an interest in it, so I felt like it was worth talking about. However, this is
down to us to make sure the ignorance didn't continue.
Yes, exactly. However, I will now let you go because I know I am an hour and a half away from Christmas. You're roughly 5.5 hours away from Christmas, so I'll let you disappear. So, Paul, where is the best place for people to find you?
So, if people for some reason want to listen to me talk, to contact me and be more invested in my life, because of course I'm wonderful, then you should go to snappy-tech /Paul. It's been so long since I've said that I'm really confused. That was right. snappy-tech /Paul. And then there's a button on there you can press, and it takes you straight to my Twitter where I am active. So if you want to speak to me, then feel free. And yeah, that's all cool.
You can also go to snappy-tech /podcast for the audio version of a show, or /iTunes if you're on an Apple device. You can go to /live to join us live. We won't be live next week as we will have a best bits, which will go live roughly around 8 p.m. British time. So
2 weeks not live. What is this shit?
I know, crazy, right? So make sure you keep an eye out on that. The best bits, I've almost finished editing it. I think it's a really good couple of hours worth of listening.
I might actually watch
it. There were some genuinely hilarious moments over the last 24 episodes. So I highly suggest you give it a listen. I'm gonna go before I go. I can sense another like sneezing fit about to appear. So I'm going to go now. Thank you so much for joining us for what was a fantastic year of the Snappy-Tech podcast. After 25
Panda,
episodes,
did you enjoy it?
I don't think he did.
He said yeah.
25
Though
episodes.
He did make him hang himself, so.
Yeah, it's a bit much. However, 25 episodes, 26 out of next year, which would be 6 months worth of a Snappy-Tech podcast. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you next year. That is crazy. Bye. And we're live. Hello and welcome, everybody. It is Sunday, the 24th of September, which is important because it's my birthday, and this is the 13th Snappy-Tech podcast with Paul. This one's going to be different. We're going to be getting a little bit tipsy, and by tipsy, I mean probably just tipsy, actually. So let me explain the rules real quick for this week's podcast. We both have some form of alcoholic beverage, which I do not condone unless you're of legal age in your country, just as a heads up. So Paul and I have beverages which contain alcohol. Mine happens to be a 50-50 split of vodka and Coca-Cola in this here pint glass, which, it's going to kill me, I can tell already. I've already had 3 ciders, 2 hours ago. Not even 2 hours ago, like an hour ago. So, I'm not all there anyway. And then I also have a glass of water for drinking and keeping sane. And then Paul has some of his own drinks as well. So, Paul, what have you got with you?
Well, I have some Coke just in case I ran out of the beer, and I have some Bacardi and white rum and Gistrana in my cupboard there. But I also have today's sponsor.
Oh yes, I forgot you did this. Go on. What is today's sponsor?
Frankly, it's not my best work, but see, in the tech world, you get a lot of people ripping off other names, usually with something quite stupid and quite funny. I mean, Nickelodeon always used to do the Pear phones.
Correct.
You get lots of random like Samsung knockoffs that'll be like John's Sung or Simsung or something really close like that.
Yeah, I see where you're going with this. Carry on.
So I thought that I could do the same with beer.
Okay.
And so in this country, you could get a beer called Carlsberg.
That is a fact.
And sorry, you can't get Carlsberg. I mean, the real big one is Paulsberg. I even tried to do the sort of the P similar to the C. I mean, I totally didn't copy anything, and obviously
it's
this
completely
is
original. The product actually exists. If you go to paulsberg.com, you can.
This is just a generic can. It isn't made to look anything like any other phone.
Exactly.
I get a factory in China to make these.
Wow, Chinese label, huh? Ugh.
Yes.
Shouldn't you be bringing jobs back to the UK?
Well, let's face it, that's where all the generic stuff comes from.
Yeah, that's where all the non-generic stuff comes from as well.
Yes, that is.
It's where everything comes from.
Yes, it is. It's where
one,
papers come from.
1/7 of the world's population is made in China. So, Paul, where's the best place for people to find you? Go.
Well, if you wish to find me and my team of pandas.
Why do you have so many pandas?
Okay, so if you wish to find the four of us, then you can go to snpy.tech/Paul. It's basically at this point a link to my Twitter where I'm very active. So if you want to message me about something, then you can. They're all going to be chucked onto the floor, and I'll get back to you pretty quickly. I do tweet some awesome stuff at people. I have quite often having conversations with them too. And occasionally I'm retweeting.
We have the worst conversations ever. Like, they're just so bad.
They're usually really random, but they're really funny. So.
Secondly, Emily, where's the best place to find you?
The best place to find me is probably also my Twitter, which is @ProfessorX, or if you go to snpy.tech/Emily, it'll take you to my Twitch page, which I do stream things on. If you're here from my Twitch, hi.
We'll see. 17th of November.
We've been going for an hour and a half, which is on the longer side of podcast territory of our podcast. Yeah, and I'm sure we could go for another hour and a half. Yeah. However, we started about an hour late, which makes it like 10:30 right now, and I'm sure you want to sleep at some point. But it's been an absolute pleasure having you on.
It's been awesome. It's been awesome.
Let the people know where's the best place to find you. Where should they go? Where should they look?
Definitely Twitter. I live on Twitter. Twitter engagement for me is night and day. So follow my Twitter handle, which is LOT Reviews BA, all as one, LOT Reviews BA. Definitely, youtube.com/lover of tech, all as one word. The links will be in the description.
Yeah, links are in the description. They're also in the show notes. So if you go into the show notes, they're there as well. So make sure to go check that out.
Consider subscribing if you enjoy my style of content.
Do it.
Go check it out. If it suits your style, subscribe. Don't feel forced to. But yeah, I would 100% appreciate your subscription. And I do weekly videos, and it will be an absolute pleasure and honor.
Where should the people of the wonderful internet go if they want to find out more?
They should head to this wonderful website called Twitter. I don't know whether you guys have heard of it.
No, honestly.
It's fantastic. And my username on there is @gr36. That's where I post all of my crap. So just go there. You'll find some podcasts and some blog posts and some arguing with Paul. So yeah, just
that makes Twitter worth it, like on its own. Like.
So if you prefer Android over iOS, make sure to go and tweet that @gr36.
Yeah, @gr36. Tweet at me. You suck. Android wins.
Will, if people want to find you, if people want to, find out more about you, is there somewhere they can go? Social media, Twitter, I assume, something like that. Instagram.
Well, most of those I don't really use anymore, sadly.
Wait, hang on. This is something I need to know about. Is there a reason for this?
I just stopped posting one day, and I was like, oh, okay, that just
You
happened.
freed yourself from social media, and you were like, this is a good place to be.
Pretty much. Like, my most active is probably Instagram. So, I mean, if you want that, it's Will_DA_awesome.
So
and that's without the first E,
The
shameless plug.
Yeah. It's never shameless. Especially if you're not. Especially if you're asked for it, then it's never shameless. Can you say that again? Because you cut out like halfway through.
Touché. Okay, it's Will_DA_awesome without the first E.
Awesome. Perfect.
Yeah, awesome. That's the kind of point.
Yeah, just without the first E.
Yeah. Charlie, if people want to find out more about you, if people want to learn everything that is Charlie, where do they go? How do they do it? Tell everyone.
Just go to my Twitter that you can see on the show page right now. That is right, isn't it? Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yep. So it's on screen. It should be. I'm not sure if it's actually in the description of this video actually. So it will be. It is
the
also
link
in the
to
show
my
notes.
YouTube is on my Twitter, but I haven't made videos in close to a year now. I think it's over a year, but I tweet fairly often. Spend a lot of time on Twitter, not as much as I used to. But if you want to message me anything, sure, I'm up for it. I don't know if you saw my tweet of the selfie with the guy from the Razer event.
Yes, I did. I was actually going to reply to that tweet and ask if you had auto HDR turned on, because that's what that does. That's what does it.
Total failure from the S8 there.
If you have HDR turned on, that's why. That'll be precisely the reason.
But yeah, so Twitter is where I hang about, and when I buy new stuff, that's pretty much where I tell everybody. Like my shameful iPhone X purchase.
How could you, absolute monster? Unbelievably, that is it. Those are the highlights of the Snappy-Tech podcast over the first 25 episodes in the year 2017. Thank you so much for joining us. It has been completely unbelievable. We will have, hopefully, roughly 52 more episodes next year for you. It has been so much fun for me. There have been so many great moments that we really struggled to keep this under 2 hours. I didn't want it to run on for too long. So thank you so much for joining us in the highlight show. And we will see you back next week on Monday, the 7th of January, I believe. I really should have done my research for this, but I think it's the 7th. It is. Look at me go. And I said, did I say Monday? I meant to say Sunday. Next Sunday, the 7th of January, where we will be live in 4K talking about whatever tech news. For example, did you know Apple slowed down the old iPhones? Because they did. We'll talk about that and a lot more. We will see you live in approximately 1 week. I hope you had a wonderful Christmas/Hanukkah/holiday season, and we will see you in 2018. Isn't that scary?